Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar on AI in M&A integrations. We will talk about our experiences and reflections regarding this topic. I am Maria Kausto-Turner from Najadaya Analytics, and together I have here our CEO, Petri Järvinen, who will take us through this presentation. I have to, before I let Petri start, I want to say something fun fact for us, because we have 28 countries represented in this webinar so far. So this is wonderful news for us that there's lots of interest regarding this topic all around the world. But now, Petri, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Maria, and thanks to all of you for participating in this call. I'm Petri, the CEO of Najadaya Analytics. So let's go. In this webinar, I will be discussing about how we can leverage AI in the context of M&A integrations. Now, this is extremely interesting topic, of course, for many reasons. Because of the exponential progress of AI, and because M&A equals significant investments, big expectations, and high risks. But it's also because in the M&A space, there's plenty of use cases which are screaming for AI to help. Tons of data to be absorbed, for example, plans to make, risks to manage, processes to implement, business decisions to analyze and close. And all this needs to be done in tight timelines, often with limited resources and imperfect information. The presentation today contains two parts. First, I will give you a brief 5-minute summary. So bear with me, please, what our product People Impact Analytics is, to share what's my angle to this topic. And then, secondly, and more importantly, I will share some of our subjective experiences on using AI in M&A integrations, what has worked and what didn't. The discussion will be focusing mostly on the post-M&A integration stage, since that's what we have done. There's a lot to do in the pre-deal stage as well, and that's indeed what many other early AI apps have targeted, for example, due diligence assessments. My key point here is to encourage you to think creatively about the possible AI use cases, even if you are already using a survey tool with some AI capabilities. For example, you are only scratching the surface. So let's first talk briefly about our product, People Impact Analytics. This will only take 5 New York minutes, really. So starting from the business problem, it's well known that M&A integrations have their fair share of problems. Usually the issues have something to do with the people and the culture. Now, it's not that people are to blame, but the integration process might not engage and listen to them properly. Other transformations have similar problems. The quote here is from Deloitte, who is our partner and has helped us dive deep in M&A experiences and best practices. But surprisingly, these people-related risks are not known as well as they should. This is something where we can help. Looking it on the top level, what our service is about, we help our clients to identify and manage people-related risks powered by science, AI, and M&A process intelligence. The risks that I'm talking about are concrete issues like people turnover, productivity loss upon the chains. The other side of the coin is that we also support driving a more engaging, inclusive change. What's good for the people is usually good for the business. Let's look a little bit at the science behind our service. Our analytics is deeply founded on emotion behavioral science developed in the University of Geneva in Switzerland. As the leftmost picture illustrates, our solution understands the human emotion space. The science helps our solution to process the experiences and expected behaviors of the employees. Of course, certain kinds of behaviors lead to risks for the business, and that's what we want to avoid. This is fundamentally different from conventional employee surveys, which in practice only measure the satisfaction and then report what the people have responded. And then, as you can see on the right, our analytics not only can predict the expected behaviors, but they also help to influence the situation helping to drive the teams towards a more engaging, more successful change. Our analytics process starts with a quick survey. The survey is extremely simple, making it easy to mobilize and respond to. Unlike many tedious employee surveys, we only have 3 questions, and they are every time the same. First, what are the 1 or 2 top emotions you have about the ongoing integration? This is a simple selection, and we are using the research method from the University of Geneva here. Secondly, the strength of those 1 or 2 emotions. And thirdly, a free-form text response describing the reasons behind your emotion or emotions. For example, why do you feel interest? The survey has full anonymity. We do not identify the employees, and we do not process any personal data. And finally, these are some examples of the analytics outcomes. The full report we create is usually about 40 pages long. Unlike most traditional surveys, we are not reporting to you what the people responded, but instead what are the observations, insight, and recommended actions. On the left, you can see examples of the top-level KPIs, the overall risk level, and the distribution of employee experiences for positive and negative emotions. With these 2 indicators, you can see the overall people risk situation in your integration in seconds. But of course, we want to know what's behind the numbers. So in the middle, you can see the unique root cause analytics powered by AI that tells you what are the concrete things behind the emotions and what is the expected impact to people's behavior. This is what the reality looks to the employees, like it or not. You can also zoom in and dive into teams, countries, and so on to understand the people risk landscape. On the right, you can see the concrete action recommendations. These are fully dynamic, relevant, case-specific actions based on the survey responses and the state of the integration. This comes from our proprietary algorithms, including use of AI, and it uses M&A best practices intelligence from Deloitte, our partner. So we run the analytics 3 times for the integration or transformation process. So the company can mitigate the risks and follow the progress, driving the change better and learning from experiences to improve the process. This is our analytics service. We are selling and delivering this worldwide to clients directly, and also we are actively seeking for more partners. Now then, to more interesting topics. Let's dive into our subjective experiences on using AI in the M&A context, especially M&A integrations after closing an acquisition. My reflections are partly related to development and deployments of our People Impact Analytics product, and also coming from many experiments with AI beyond that. So let's dive in. And let's start top down. How should I use AI in an M&A integration? Basically 2 models, right? In the integration context, there's a lot where you can use AI interactively. That's quick, cheap, fun, and often useful. Drafting many kinds of plans, creating internal and external communication, summarizing documents for quick reading, reviewing data to find trends, patterns, anomalies, creating illustration to your messaging, brainstorming difficult decisions. However, if you are to develop more systematic processes for your use cases, like we have done, you need to put in more effort. You need to go deeper and think about the data sources more carefully. Think about the technology in more detail and consider where and how AI can help you repeatedly to have a real business impact. We will talk more about this and the use cases with the subsequent slides. Usually you wouldn't give AI the end-to-end responsibility of anything. So you have to find out where to best use it. Quite logically, you can use AI in the beginning of a task, at the end of the task, or in the middle. AI is a great tool to get a running start for a complex job, as it can generate very credible drafts in an instant. This is often ad hoc collaboration with AI. You can speed up creating your M&A integration strategies, guidelines, timelines, communications. You will take the draft the AI created, saving a lot of time, and then take it over and refine the content yourself. What about AI as a regular contributor? Outsourcing some routine work to the AI on an ongoing basis will need a more systematic and prepared approach. You would be using AI as a regular automated workforce. You could use generative AI or its younger sibling called agentic AI, which helps to plan and automate actions. You may need a separate application and maybe programming work for this and more refined data models. You definitely need more time, money, and skilled effort. Our use case is, for example, to assess people and culture-related risks and their root causes based on survey data and following certain scientific principles and create insights and action plans for our clients. Other M&A use cases might include cascading plans down in the organization, setting up workshop programs, for example, consolidating, say, marketing plans, tabulating project risks or escalating issues automatically, summarizing progress, identifying patterns or anomalies in the business, or analyzing policy differences. Finally, using AI as a reviewer to check your plans and communications can easily improve the quality, not only for the language and tone, but also for consistency and coverage of the subject matter. AI enables a very efficient writing style where you throw a very early draft to the AI, let it improve the content, and then maybe iterate this a few times until you are both satisfied with the outcome. As you can see, none of the options here include AI owns everything. At least for now, we need a human in the loop. And that's what we are talking about next. Our point of view is that at least in the foreseeable future, a human must own the critical decisions. So whatever your workflow model is, somebody must have the final word. Even if you automate your process to a great extent and AI does most of the heavy lifting, your process must support a point where the human can oversee the process, take the ownership, and intervene if and when necessary. It's not about checking every fact. It's about getting an overall understanding what's going on and checking the critical decisions. It's about being accountable. We are seeing this work very well with great efficiency and accurate, reliable results in practice. More than anywhere else, all this is important when we are dealing with people, as is the case with M&A integrations. You probably know that we can use AI models on several levels, from building your own customized AI models to using commercial AI services. These options have vast differences in terms of needed effort, data, time, money, and outcomes. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. The point is, you have to work with the right professionals and identify the right approach for your use cases. In the M&A context, you might not have the amount of repeatable data nor the time to create custom AI models. The fine-tuning approach lets you guide the AI's decision-making with very reasonable amount of private data. We have seen this method produce amazing results quite easily. With the right, well-balanced methods, it's possible to gain significant benefits with reasonable effort and cost. We have already talked about a few use cases here and more coming on the next page. In our case, we use all these three methods complementing each other in different use cases. AI currently performs quite badly in some use cases, but excels in many others. For example, AI is not yet great in reasoning, as you probably know. But here we have some tasks where, to our experience, AI is better than a human, sometimes much better. AI is clearly a super fast tool for translation and other language processing tasks, as long as you are fine with 99% quality. especially when it comes to languages other than English. For internal documents, for example, that's usually fine. M&A often includes operating across borders, so this can be very helpful. You can quickly translate internal communications, plans, or instructions. Secondly, AI can quickly read and absorb an enormous amount of material. It has great capability to summarize information in many ways, to extract summaries, key observations, or top 5 lists. This is a huge help in M&A space since there is a lot of information to digest in a short time frame. That capability also helps AI to convert data from qualitative to quantitative form. For example, by reading existing documents, it can list, let's say, offering features, declare pros and cons, tabulate priorities, generate scores or risk levels, and itemize agreed decisions for meetings. Classification is a prime example of these capabilities. We use this to classify the free-form responses from the employees into logical categories and then combine that data with multidimensional scientific modeling. We already talked about AI drafting content, which is clearly a space where AI excels. You will easily save hours, if not days or more. You can easily use commercial AI services to brainstorm problem solving. Don't try to get everything right on the first try. You can refine the context piece by piece to the AI, providing feedback both ways and have a really meaningful discussion to find solutions, or at least well-defined alternative solutions with pros and cons to your problem. In the M&A context, the scope might be any difficult business decisions. Just be mindful of not sharing any personal employee information or confidential business information, especially for AI's training purposes. And then the tail end of any process is a good place to use AI. It's a great way to review your plans, documents, and communications, as we have discussed. This is certainly one of the easiest ways to use AI for M&A integrations with very little advanced planning. By the way, we should not underestimate the importance of illustrations. You can see some examples of mine in this presentation. Let's talk about data. This is a topic that might well have been my first slide, since with AI, everything depends on the data. In the M&A space, there's intrinsically lots of data. So in that sense, using AI is a great prospect. These are some of our experiences in the M&A space on what works well with your data. So first of all, the data can be a mixture of things. It doesn't have to be fully structured and consolidated. AI is great at connecting data points from different sources. You might have your strategy plans here, performance measures there, the org chart tabulated somehow, the integration plan in a different format, the business review notes. Our own use case is about combining quantitative data from a scientific emotion behavioral model with survey data and even free-form responses from the employees, then assessing this against our earlier data from client cases and industry best practices. Works great. Mixing some manually created dummy data with real-world data is a strong method to guide the AI towards preferred solutions. This synthetic data can represent either ideal cases or such extreme diverse cases which are rarely seen in real data. It will be helpful to pre-process the data somehow. The obvious most important thing is to make the data anonymous by removing any personal identifying information. You do not want to feed personal identifying information to the AI, especially not to the commercial AI services, and most definitely not letting it use that data for training. A local model is safer when the environment is protected correctly. There are other useful steps as well to improve the data. Anything which makes the data more logical, more connected will help the AI. And then you can even use the AI itself to help with pre-processing, for example, by tabulating information or extracting key facts from larger material for your further review. So the pre-processing also helps to connect a human in the loop, as we have discussed. Finding data will not be a one-off exercise. You will be feeding AI more data along the time. It's important to keep the data quality improving and getting more and more diverse. Your results will be improving as well.
Petri, that sounds very interesting and very good, all that what AI can do. And before I let you go further, or I just want to hear that I'm sure you have had challenges and problems with AI as well. So can you open up those a little bit too?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, Maria. Let's address some risks and challenges. So the big issue is here that you can't really fully trust the AI, right? It gives you great results much of the time, but then suddenly makes up something which is misleading or totally fake. You have heard the term hallucination. That's one of the reasons why we still need the human in the loop. So there are other good reasons as well, as we have discussed. And that's also what we are doing with our analytics solution. The human supervises the algorithm, intervenes when necessary, and has the final ownership of the deliverables. The AI can still speed up the total turnaround time massively. Then it's very obvious that the data security and personal data privacy is on top of every AI-related risk list. You have critically important reasons to take this seriously. In our use case, we manage this first of all by not collecting any personal data at all. We are also using a separate locally run AI solution to make sure that even if someone would have typed a person name on a survey form, which they are advised not to do, but somebody might do that anyway, we will mask that personal information before any further processing. So it becomes safe after all. Of course, the cybersecurity must be strong as well. In our case, the data is stored in a secure commercial cloud service, and you need to coach your team since most of the data breaches happen because of a human error. All of this is not specific to M&A, but it is equally true there. Then not having enough good quality data is a typical issue. So in the M&A space, you will naturally have lots of data. You can collect more data over time, create synthetic data manually, and so on. You could use the fine-tuning method, as we discussed earlier, combining generic AI models with a smaller set of your own private data. This is often useful. The requirement for explainability is something we face often from our clients. For example, they are asking, why does your analytics indicate a problem with the communication in our company, in our integration? The AI explainability problem might never be fully solved, but AI itself can help a lot by diving deeper into the data, looking for explanations and doing its best to explain its reasoning. In our case, we have been able to push AI to give very meaningful explanations to its own outputs. As an example of the regulations, I want to mention the European Union AI Act. Some parts of that became applicable this February, some will come into force in August. You need to check it against your use cases to understand the implications. In the M&A space, for example, it would be considered as high-risk use of AI to have AI support individual career-related decisions, and it would be completely unacceptable to implement any flavor of social scoring. We stay away from those use cases and only use non-personal data. Okay, there is no reason to think that the progress has come to end. We can do things today which were impossible just a year ago, or at least unfeasibly hard. An unprecedented level of funding, hundreds of billions in the US, Europe, and Asia is being spent in the AI development, and the competition is fierce, as you know. With all the key players heavily invested, how could this not lead to fast developing technology and applications, for better or worse? But even if the AI wouldn't be getting any better, and I'm sure it will, there are tons and tons of untouched use cases in every part of our work and personal lives where AI can make and will make a huge impact, both inside and outside the M&A space. It's an understatement to say that we live very interesting times. Our time's up. Thanks for your interest. Please do contact me if you want to talk about these matters more, and especially if you want to hear how our People Impact Analytics service can help you or your clients to drive M&A integration successfully. We are selling and delivering directly to clients and also growing our partner network, so hoping to talk with you again soon. We will also continue running webinars, usually once a month, so stay tuned. Maria, back to you.
Yes, thank you, Petri, for a very interesting presentation. This concludes our presentation, and thank you from my part also to all the participants.